Okay, so welcome back to another Monday morning mentoring. Happy Memorial Day. And there's nothing else I really want to say about that. Hopefully you're enjoying or have something wonderful planned with your family to celebrate whatever it is you celebrate on this Memorial Day. I have my own acknowledgments that I share with the people that I love and know have served in ways. And so while I am very much an advocate for peace, I do know the sacrifice that has to be made. And I am incredibly grateful and thankful and appreciative to those that have made sacrifices to ensure certain things and do their part. That's their view to, and when I say their, I mean clearly war and having wars is something that humans think is necessary. So we won't go too much into that, but suffice it to say, you know, patriotism is lovely, and I think that we all need to find our own way and sense of wholeness within creating whatever that is. And we're in such an interesting time with so many different viewpoints. So I tread really lightly here and just let, honor it, but also acknowledge it and just say where we're at. So there we go. Thank you and thank you. Today I want to talk about a couple of really cool things. This is going to mark the 6-month target date for my family and I to move into a tiny house. We're building it. We're sitting in a situation where we can start building and creating it. And that has me thinking about letting go. And so I wanted to share that with you today, as well as how we can create vessels in our life to hold us. So I'll share about my yoga chair that I'm sitting in and how we've made this. I made this for, actually, I didn't make this. I had it made, and we had it made for a retreat so that our yoga studio would have some awesome, comfortable chairs to sit in. And so I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about making room for your own future and what that's going to look like moving forward, and seeing how that can be discovered in your own world. It's interesting how my voice, I'm definitely some stuff going on in this throat chakra stuff. So I'm going to get centered here and communicate a little bit more clearly from a place of wholeness. I know I'm kind of being a little wishy-washy about the Memorial Day and not just stepping into that place. I stay away from politics altogether. I really, I am very much a very strong believer in certain things and take a strong stand in my own world. But, overall, the overarching view that I take is that when we can fully trust each other, and that starts with ourselves, then there's going to be peace on earth. So that's my take on it. And without further ado, if we haven't met before, I'm Stefana Johnson, and I'm a holistic business and lifestyle coach. I'm also the founder of Yogalachi. That's my banners have come home with me since we are completely shut down, and any physical location and contact with our students and clients is not happening right now. And that's totally fine, because we're doing everything virtually and it's working just fine. But I focus really on a holistic perspective. So what does that mean? It really means that I'm looking at the whole person, not just their body, not just their mind, not just their emotions, and not just their bottom line, finances when I look at business. And so we cover the whole enchilada, as they say. And I use many tools. I have many tools at my disposal, and I try to share some of them during the Monday morning mentoring that hopefully you can apply to your life. And I kind of frame it as what you could do this week, similar to what I would be focusing on for myself, so that we can kind of share and collaborate. So make sure you comment If you're not subscribed, I'd love for you to be a subscriber, and you can catch us live on our Facebook page. So that's your Holistic Mentor Facebook page, and then YouTube is just going to pop up on there later. And yeah, and if there's something you want specifically to talk about right now, I am definitely taking requests, and I'm definitely taking questions. And if we want to do a reading or something like that, I'm open to that right now. Have set that up in my time to give back to my community, to the world. And so if that's something you're needing, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, so with that said, let's look at this idea of letting go. And I'm going to tell you from my perspective, especially with this whole tiny house thing. My boys and I have been living in a townhome for 4 years, and it is amazing what kind of stuff you can accumulate. And for me, it's not, I mean, the clothes and the toys and the things are there, but for me, it's books. So I have scads of books, just thousands of books. And I am really struggling to let go of those. And I'm finding that, you know, with a tiny house, it's by pound. So books are heavy, and I'm not going to be keeping a lot of books. But as I was going through the process of releasing, and I know that that's what's ahead of me, I realized that I had been using books as a way to replace certain other things that I wasn't willing to confront in my life. So as we talk about letting go today, how is that showing up in your life, where maybe there's something that it's not really needed, it's not really necessary in your life, you've had it maybe for a bit, but you just can't let it go? And is there something that you've made it mean that it really doesn't mean? And using that perspective, is it a little bit easier to make a conscious decision of whether or not that's something that's serving you now? So a lot of my books I've had for the last dozen years or so. I haven't read all of them. I don't know if I ever will. But I know that I feel safe with them. I feel they mean something to me. They mean that maybe I'll be smarter. And so I have to take a deeper look at that. Do I feel like I'm not already smart? So I'm not saying that we should introvert on this and go all introspective and dig ourselves a big ditch in this and go off in the ditch trying to evaluate this, but to look at it from a perspective of how can we really start letting go of things that no longer serve us is a policy that I think we all need to develop, especially with what's been going on for the last several months with COVID, because we're going to have to let go of a lot of the energy and a lot of that old idea that we had before, which was, it could have been anything. I mean, for me, the transition was more that I loved being in person with people. I loved the tactile, the touching, and I couldn't let go of that. I mean, it was like right at the 11th hour for me when my clients were not going to be able to come on May 1st to start, that I had to transition everything to virtual. And I could not shift my mind to that. How am I going to do this? I'm not there. I can't touch them. I can't do the things that I need to do. I can't feel them. And so that required me to let go a lot of the thoughts and the ideas that I had already developed over the past 30 years. And that's such it shows up in everything. And so has something developed that it means this, I have to have it this way, or I need to have this, or I have to have this object. And so we can use it as objectifying, we can use it as thoughts, feelings, emotions, all of that, and see how, what if we made it mean that is keeping it held in place? Because if we unravel it a little bit further, we're making it mean something, and it doesn't necessarily mean that. So is there a lie there? And when I say lie, it doesn't mean like it's this insidious lie, but is there an alteration of truth there? Now, when we ask that question, oh, now we can start getting an answer. So is there an alteration of truth there? And so what's your ultimate truth? What do you know absolutely? What is absolutely 100% something that you can know? That's an important question to be asking right now of yourself. And I think that question right there could be the most important question we ask ourselves going forward. So I'll leave that. And then I'll go to, so I'm very excited about the tiny house because I've mapped out, I've literally every single inch of that home has exactly what I absolutely love, need, and holds, and I've created the space to hold exactly what I love, my boys love, and we need, and that nourishes us, and that is beautiful. And in creating that and really taking the time, and this has been a process, a very long process. I've been looking at tiny homes since my babies were infants. And this whole process, and is it a process of distilling what is so important to you in everyday life, allows for you to really develop a life that you can lead and, you know, develop that business that you love. And that's what this is all about, right? That ultimately we want to distill down to that, because then that frees you up, frees up your energy, frees up your we'll call it bandwidth, right? Frees up your space energetically, emotionally, relationship wise, physically, to create the kind of life you want to create and with the kind of people you want to create with. And so that does talk about, okay, who we're going to have to let go of, who and what are we going to have to let go of people-wise in our lives that are sucking us of energy. That's been a topic we've talked about a lot for the last 8 weeks, because of, you know, who are we letting in to our life with their information, and is it true, and do we know it's true, right? So asking those questions and going through that process, perhaps this week you can look at that and really look in your own home and your car and your purse and see if there is everything in that purse, everything in your home, something you love, that you need, and that nourishes you and is beautiful. Great questions to ask, right? Okay. The chair that I want to show you, this is my yoga chair, and I'm going to show it to you so you can actually see how neat this is. It has a back, and I can adjust it. So when we had many of them in the studio, there's a lower one, a mid one, and a high one. So for me, I'm taller, so I had it on the high. And then I had a few of them at different places. So when people came in, their lumbar would be supported. And you'll notice that then the booty can go back. And I talk about this whenever I'm working with my clients, right? We don't want the C shape. And a lot of the chairs now and the seats in the car, notice, are all bucket-like. But we need to be sitting up on our sits bones with our lumbar and that support there. So that's why I wanted to show you my yoga chair. And then I want to share with you what it means to be held. I think we're missing a lot of that right now. To be held, to have someone have your back in such a way. Imagine if someone were to walk up to you that you love and trust, okay, or at least like and trust, and they place their hand And in Qigong, right, we've got energy coming out of that hand. So watch some of my other videos on the power in your hand. And you place your hand right on the low back and support them. Could you imagine being supported in that way? Can you imagine supporting another, your loved ones, in that way? Just placing your hand on their low back and with intention, sending love, sending energy into that space. What would happen? How would that be? So in creating and having something like this, where the back is supported at that lumbar, right? Not at the thoracic, because we want to be able to restore that natural curve of the body so that the organs can be free to move and that we can breathe deeply and we can have a good, strong, long waist, and that we are centered in this space, I think is very valuable. I think it's incredibly valuable. So I wanted to talk about that, and I'll share some of the basics on how to do this. You can actually build this. It's not that difficult. And then I want to talk about how you can create a vessel in your own life, an energetic vessel, as well as a physical vessel in your own life that holds you. And that looks like creating rhythm and routine in your life. Some folks really push against having rhythm and routine because they feel like their freedom is being taken away. And I understand that during this time. And it's even more important to create that vessel that holds you, using routine, using rhythm, healthy routine, healthy rhythm. I just got off the phone with a past client who has been binging on Netflix, and that's not uncommon now, right? And they're sitting in their sofas and their backs they're completely stuck in their sofa, and 6 hours later, all the foodstuffs are around them, and they're describing this to me, and I'm understanding with incredible compassion what's happening. And I saw that whole image of they're not supported. The back is, physiologically, you're not supported in these sofas and these, right? So there's no support there. And then they're taking in all of this energy of this repetitive, very hypnotic, insidious stuff that's going into their brain, that's going into their body, that's going into their energy field. And the nourishment of junk food around them is not happening, right? No hydration. Of course you're going to be depressed. Of course you're going to feel like crap. Of course you're going to feel like, you want things to stop. And the solution is not a pill. It's not. The solution would be, well, awareness first. And then I would suggest getting something that physiologically holds your back, that supports you, so that you feel like you are supported physiologically first. And then bolstering your life around this idea, this concept. I hope I'm communicating this concept because it's such an important one. Physiologically, kinesthetically, we are touch human beings, and it is so missing in our lives right now that we don't have someone able to touch our backs or catch our back or hold our back. So you're going to have to create this in your own world. You're going to have to make something that holds your back. Physiologically, emotionally, in patterns and habits, and turn off the bloody TV. Turn it off. Just turn it off. It doesn't have your back. It's not supportive. It's not helpful in any way. It's just not. That's, I know, hard for people to get. Oh, she's like, no, just turn it off. It's a waste of your time. I can give you many, many other things that you can do. Not my ideas, but your ideas. Because all I have to do is ask you what lights you up. What makes you happiest? When were you last happiest? What excites you? And you know what? When's the last time you were bored? You want to be bored. You want the feeling of boredom, because from that boredom, your creativity can blossom. But if we fill up every moment of our day with the smartphone, checking social media, a movie, binge watching, someone else's stuff on Instagram, a constant book, right? Me with all my books. If we're constantly filling every little void, we are not going to be open to allowing what is inside of us to come out, to blossom, to unfold. And that's dangerous. That's so dangerous. Then we become vessels to be filled, and we're not vessels to be filled. That's the mistake. And I think there's a lot of training going on right now as we are stuck at home. And so we're being filled as vessels. We're not vessels to be filled. So we need to find that place again that is quiet, that is peaceful, that allows us to step away and unplug completely. And create something in your life that has your back. If it's not going to be a physical person, and I can tell you, I don't have that in my life. My boys are 14 and 11, and I make sure every day that I've got their back, that I go and hold their back and support them in everything I do and everything I say. And I try to do that with my clients. When I can do it in person physically, I will do that. But I will do that emotionally, and I will do that mentally, and I will do that etherically, energetic wise. And I would do that for the world and send that out if I could. But we all have to create this physiological piece too, because we are, as holistic beings, we are physical too. We are carbon oxygen machines, and we need support. We need our back. We need to have that. And we need to have good supportive people that have our back. Our kids need that. Our parents need that. Our grandparents need that. We all need that. Okay. So that's what I wanted to say about having things that hold your back. So physiologically creating something that has your back. Change your car setup. If your car is really set up, I've got a lumbar pillow that I put in there that holds my back up. Make sure your kids have the same type of thing. Don't let your kids stay in those bucket seats where their backs are being constantly molded in that C shape. Horrible. Find that sense of, strength, core strength, your center. Come back to your powerhouse. That is your physical powerhouse. And then we can start really working on that mental powerhouse and understanding that piece with the balance. Just finale here. The balance piece is that as you unfold what is working and what's not working, that's that ebb and the flow of, okay, what do we need to release here? What do we need to allow or reinforce with your rhythm, with your routine, with your bolster? And that's always an ebb and flow of balance. Okay, what do I need to release here? What do I need to, right? For me right now, I'm in major releasing mode, but I still have to balance that with this bolstering of my back and what's holding me. And that is going to be those rhythms, those routines that are healthy, workable routines and rhythms. And you want to teach yourself that. You want to build that in as a habit. You want to teach your family. You want to teach your business should be set up as a structurally with your rhythms and your routines. What this is called consistency, right? Being consistent in your marketing, being consistent in your messaging. So that translates to every part of our lives so that we can be more successful in our personal life and in our relationships and our business. All right, so I hope that helps. And I will send over a couple of links on this beautiful yoga chair if anybody wants to work on it with us. And maybe I'll do, when we're back out of this, we can do a weekend building workshop and build some of these things. It's kind of cool because it also sets up to where you can, see if you can, I have little notches here that it makes it raises it up so that your legs are, so that your booty's higher than your legs. And so when you're sitting in a, when you're sitting in, if you saw that, so I'm up a little bit higher from the back, and then you're sitting in lotus pose, your legs don't fall asleep because of that circulation cut off. So it's a really nice, yeah, it's a really nice chair. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna sign out and say peace and blessings. Have an amazing week. Happy Memorial Day, and be well.